Tim McNamara from Air and Water. I know everyone probably knows me. Thank you, John. The system, identical to the existing system on the main floor. It's the same thing for bone marrow transplant. Pre-treatment behind me, RO, hot and cold on this skid. Fills the tank, booster pumps. This skid here will go to just the 6th floor in this building and the 6th floor in the other, in Maine, for BMT. The skid behind that's hydration. That goes from 6 through 10.
It also goes down.
And 1, 2, and 3, or B, 2, and 3. And the hydration skids for sport bottles, is that all it does? There's no bubblers or anything, right? Just sport bottles to fill for drinking water. And that's the skid in the back. Of course, like I said, this skid here is strictly for bone marrow, shower, hand washing, brushing teeth, anything else, bathing. It's all on this skid here. It does go, the loops do go over hot and cold to the main, and they'll be tied in eventually. Near future. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to start at the beginning of the system and just do a step thing. I know you're not going to get it all today, but questions, you got my number. I'm always here, and I'll be happy to take anybody shift-wise and bring them through it again. Because like I said, this is going to be rough, and it's a little loud, and one-on-one's a little easier than the whole group. So we'll head over to the beginning of the system, then we'll go through it. All right? All right, guys, we got 2 water feeds to this system as it stands right now. Domestic cold water comes up, feeds into the unit for normal operation. There's another valve above my head, which is well water, which comes over and feeds onto here. And the well water is just for backwashing the equipment. It's not for the normal process flow. Okay, so city water, domestic, normal flow through the carbon filter, water softener, pre-filter, then to the RO. And then again, like I said, well water comes down this side, and that will be strictly for backwashing. All the wastewater or discharge water from the RO unit goes into the flat bottom tank on the other side of this large tank. The flat bottom tank will take reject water from the RO, and when the pre-treatment, such as the carbon or the softener, goes into a backwash, it uses the reject water to flush all that, and that gets discharged down the drain. All the filtered water that physically goes through this carbon filter and the water softener will go directly to the RO. So, well water, if needed, for backwashing, domestic water through the filtration, pre-filter, RO, backwash tank, which is the flat bottom tank, will backwash the equipment, and it's through a number of valves here, and we'll go through that when I get the pump on the other side and show you where that is. So right now, process flow is carbon, water softener, there's a pre-filter cartridge down there, then it goes over to the RO. Maintenance for it, keeping salt in the brine tank, just like we do for all the other systems, and changing the pre-filters, same thing, and they're gonna be on site. Okay, any questions? Go ahead, Mark.
Are you going to have some type of valve charting over here, explaining the system with the valve tanks, but then over the valve tank?
Every process diagram has valve number, gauge number, everything's tagged, and it's on here. And what we usually do, Mark, is we'll put one of these, a ledger, in a frame, valve list, everything. It'll be within the system somewhere. there will be process flow, like I said, sequence of operation, and everything will be here framed, and we'll put it somewhere local. Just like that, like I said, all the other systems have sequence of operation also. So let's go back around. We'll start at the RO after this. Oh, any more questions before everyone? Yes, that valve is a manual valve. It can be opened if need be. So, but it's just backup. Especially if we lose city water, we can still run, and it's that ball valve there.
Do you have a purge first?
There should be something. It wouldn't be bad because those pumps are over on the platform, and I don't know the procedure of that pumps as of yet. So, but it wouldn't be bad even to put a relief on the top of this, shoot it down the drain as the thing fires up and blows off, because we're going to get here. No. We've got it over there on the reject tank right now, and there is a city water.
So you're just using the reject tank
to backwash, and there is a city water solenoid. If that gets low, it will refill. So, all right, guys. So what? From the beginning again, carbon water softener, pre-filter, and it comes over on this line here. I know they're marked. I'm sure they're going to be labeled by others eventually. So like I said, we take the filtered water, go through the pump, discharge out of the pump. Here of our RO membranes. You've got 6 membranes on the housing, same as all the other flow meters. You've got your recycle flow, reject flow, and your product flow. Recycle flow goes back to the suction side of the pump, so we're not discharging all the water down the drain, and just we reuse it. The reject flow comes up and over and goes into this storage tank here. So we're taking the reject water that's already filtered and putting in this tank, and this is what backwashes the carbon filter and the water softener. There's a city water bypass valve right here with a solenoid. So if the unit doesn't run and we need to backwash the equipment, this valve will open, replenish the tank, and continue the backwash of the system. Hopefully that valve shouldn't turn on. We just use, of course, the water that we already filtered and we're using here.
What activates that valve?
Excuse me?
What activates that valve?
The level. So if this level's down, John, this valve will open to replenish the tank to make sure we backwash the rest of the equipment. This overflow on this tank right here will be overflowing. That's normal because we want to reuse this. Is that yo? Turn it down. This will, like I said, this will overflow to drain as when the RO's running. Then, of course, when it backwashes, it's going to take the water out of this tank and handle that. Like I said, the city water right there, just at the level's low to backwash. The other pipe on the other side is RO product water. And what that does, when the RO starts up, we dump to this tank. It does a pre-flush for 20 seconds. As soon as the pre-flush is done, the valve simultaneously open up and refill this tank, and this shuts off. Product water all goes to this tank here, which is our main pure water for BMT. This is the reject tank here, flat bottom. We don't care about flat bottom because it's just for reuse. Conical bottom tank, so we have no bacteria growth. The water gets turned over constantly. This is our good water tank. We do have stickers coming that will label reject water tank and your product water tank for your BMT. Out of the bottom of the storage tank, you've got the 3-inch polypropylene, which will feed. There's 3 sets of pumps behind the unit, we've got a hot pump, a cold pump, and a spare pump. So this way here, if there's one pump goes down, we can manually isolate it, open up valves, then fire up the spare pump to get either hot or cold water to go either direction. What we'll do is we'll come over the main screen now and I'll show you what each pump is doing. It's just an adjustment, what we're doing. On this unit here, here's all our pumps. Everything should be in auto, of course, except the spare. We just leave that in the off position. So we have our hot loop pump, spare, cold loop pump, RO unit pump, then our backwash pump. Backwash pumps on the back with the 3 other cold, spare, and hot pumps. And that's how that's going to operate. What we do is we have 2 loops go out, 2 hot and 2 cold. And what they do is they do not go back to the storage tank. They're closed loops, just so we can keep our temperature up and we're not mixing hot and cold. We've got the electric heater on the other side. It's identical to the old system for hot water. It does alarm. You do have to reset it when you restart it, just like the other system. All right, we'll go over that. Cold water goes through the chillers here, and they're all preset, and they can be set to whatever the floor desires or anything. John Greenwood,
Yes, sir.
are they going to insulate the chillers?
Yeah, we'll find out.
Okay.
Obviously, they're sweating.
Yeah. Yes, and those are sweating. They're not leaking. So tell Joe Rizzo not to call me tonight. All right. On this main screen, you can touch it, do anything you want. Alarm history, set points, you can't go in it. It's password protected. Of course, some people will know the password, and it's very simple. You can go next screen, which is not a problem. Gives you your product water flow, product water total, how much water's been through the system. And like I said, it just scrolls to what you can do. And what we want to do is leave it on the levels. Main screen, same thing. Control screens, which will let valves open and close, which I don't have a problem anybody looking at because they're all set in auto. Okay? Pump screen, if we want to boost pressure up, it's all on variable drives. And like I said, I'll go through that with some people. And alarm history will come up with any alarms that come up. You'll be able to read them. They are there, they're not all cleared. This is during startup. Okay? So normal screen will be this, and that's pretty much what you want to look at. We're gonna.
What the acceptable ranges, so the guy knows
There-
what the parameters are.
There will be a checklist sheet just for everything, so when you go through it, you'll be able to say, you know, I'm within my limits. You write down everything you need to know. Up here gives us all our conductivity, temperature, percent rejection of the RO unit. Over here gives us conductivity, temperature of cold, temperature of hot loops right in here. Should never have to touch anything up here. All you got to do is write down the readings. Conductivity, like I said, percent rejections up on the front, our 2 mains. Then here is our cold loop, which is 24 and 47 degrees going out. Hot loop, of course, 40 for conductivity and 103 for a temperature. If we need to bring temperatures up or down, we can, once we get going, see how the system gets a load on it and see if we can maintain. What we do on this system here is we inject chlorine on hot and cold loops, and we also do it on hydration. I know everyone's familiar with dialysis. We don't want any chlorine in the water. We've got the same analyzers here that are showing chlorine levels that's in the system. Like I said, dialysis, we want to always see 0, which you guys are used to looking at, and these are going to be maintained right now. These levels, like I said, are high right now because we've been testing it and make sure everything's working. But during normal procedure, as new water comes in, it's going to come down. Then once we get past that set point, these pumps right here, I've got cold, spare, and a hot, which are located in this panel itself, and they will.
Maintain it closed level, or you're gonna do a match?
No, it physically. These pull a reading every 2.5 minutes. Then it gets a reading, feeds back to the pumps, and will either stay stable or will inject to get it up to our set point. So I've got chlorine here. I've got chlorine also on hydration. And so what we're doing right now, like I said, we're just recirculating the water physically in a closed loop. We can look at the hot now. And I've got 2 loops going out. I've got flow meters on each side. On the returns, I have relief valves, the balance pressure, balance flow. They can be isolated one at a time, back and forth. So we have that redundancy to do it. Like I said, there's no load on the system, so once patients get in there, start using water, we will have to come back and do some adjustments. And I'd love to have some guys back here, Mark, when we go to do that, so I can physically do it with them, do it together. Let's whip around the back side. We'll look at the cold loop and look at the heater, then go to hydration. All right, guys, here's our 3 pumps that I talked about in the front. I've got my cold water pump. Here's my spare. Here's my hot water pump. Everything's got isolation valves on it. On the discharge side, if one pump fails, we manually have to swap the valves to get the flow to go in either direction. Cold water here goes out. You can see the temperature. Everything's a little misty and condensation's dropping. So again, it's not a leak, it's condensation. That pump there is just our backwash pump for backwashing the pre-treatment over here. Over to the heater. Same thing, same as the other building. Temperatures here, and if this ever goes down, you're going to get the alarm again, just like the other building, and you're going to hold the reset. The other one had a push button to hold, so now we just got to hold it till it catches up to it, and that alarm will keep coming off. So this can be set higher or lower just with these buttons, and there also is an alarm on it for 140 degrees. Because this baby ramps up a lot faster than the other one, but it seems to settle off. Change that to cold though. It will have to have.
Maybe got 122
going out.
122 would be high.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because there's alarm 1, alarm 2 set point.
12 in the shower, so 122 going out.
Yeah. Because that's my alarm. Oh, excuse me, not my alarm. My set point right now. But what I'm doing is I've got this valve open, so I'm moving through this one also. Because this is just spare, that's backup, but I'm putting water through it anyways to keep it clean and keep it sanitized. This, we also have a gauge here for temperature, and the one on the front of the panel is also temperature. Like I said, hot and cold water, loops go out, loops return. Nothing goes back to the storage tank behind me. It all gets recycled back to the suction side of the pump. Hot return comes in here. Green, the green, which is a cold, returns in there, and they go back out on each loop.
Where's your PVC tank?
The polypro right here, this 3-inch polypro.
Alright, so just gonna pull it as it needs it.
Pulls in as it needs it, absolutely. So that's pretty much RO, hot and cold, your heater, your chillers on the other side, your storage tanks there. That's all your pure water. And
You're gonna have to mark the loop or what room numbers are on it.
we would talk, come on in, John.
Try and label the loop and the room numbers that are on it.
We can do that. Yeah. And then eventually loop 1 goes to the main building. Loop 2 serves our 6th floor over here.
Okay.
Just so when they come up, they know which loop.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which way it's gonna go, absolutely.
Okay.
Hey,
That's
nice
my
for you to
list.
show up. Where you been? Lunch?
Then they'll let them like that.
Out to lunch. We'll do hydration now, behind you. We're gonna start with the hydration skid right now and start working on this side. Water comes out of the same storage tank as BMT. Comes over on the 3-inch polypro, drops down, goes into a 2-inch, and we go up to 3 sets of pumps. We've got loop 1, spear pump, and loop 2. And what we're doing on this is spear pump can go either or, and loop 2, there is no, loop 2's for future. Okay, so we're only loop 1, and this is off. Loop 1, of course, and those are off. Same idea for
Normally off on these. The ones that are supposed to be on, I don't know what.
Dean. Can you on the P-touch put spare in loop 2, put normally off, make up 2 of each for these 2 and these 2, please.
Normally off?
Yep. Same with this. We grab a conductivity reading, okay, which is cold loop 1. I've got my loop 2. I have that over here because I draw water off it just to move the water so it's not stagnant, and I don't want to get a high reading, then a false alarm come up and get people down here. Temperature of the loop is 54. Then loop 2 is 71 because that's just standing room temperature. What we do is we grab the level of the storage tank here. It's the same as what reads over here. So if we get a low level, this skid will shut down, this skid will shut down. All right, and what they...
Everybody? Yeah. Always.
That's where the pumps will shut off. So shut off at 15 inches, then restart at 20. Okay? Those are just our pressures also for low pressure. I'll go through the screens at a later date with y'all. We'll make it a little easier. So what this, just put them up. Just put them right there. Dean will put them on. This skid also, we do have a chemical, which we do put chlorine back into the units. And right now they're not reading as of yet, but they do read. We're just recirculating the water as we whip it around. So I'm just gonna, it will come back up, and like I said, it's banging away. These pumps, it is sweating a lot. on the back, and we'll talk to John about getting that insulated. But the same thing, this, you know, I'm grabbing a read. Every couple of 2.5 minutes, I'll pull up a reading. So this water does the same thing. It goes 1, 2, and 3, then 6 through 10. And these are physically the, you know, you push a bottle in.
We'll show one of them.
Yeah, and go to push the bottle in, and then it refills. So, and that's all it does. It does nothing else.
Continuous loop right to the spigot.
It goes right to the spigot. There's one small valve that feeds it. Then it recircs back to the suction side of the pumps over here. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go over, take a look at the back of this.
It's pretty much the same system as that, but it's drinking water.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Good?
Like that?
We should call it sheriff, David.
On this here, that's a spare. So the second loop is all future. All right, for upgrading, and it, you know, ends right here at the valve. So all we're doing is running on one loop, and this. If I've got
primary loop right now.
yeah, can you turn this pump off, John? The only pump running on the left, loop 1.
Put it on the handle extensions on that. That way they won't get sweating.
Not the chemical pump.
You're not going to run it that cold anyway.
What's that?
You're not going to be running it that cold, are you?
Well, I've got it. It's running at 54 degrees right now on the other side of the screen.
It's running at 40 now?
What's that? No, this one's in. This one, yeah. So.
You wanted to cut out the handle extensions on it.
Yeah, because I've got valve, like control valve over there, which will, you know, I can set my temperature on the screen, and that will tell me what's coming in and out of the unit. Well, the thing, if you look, John, you know, I've got it coming back.
Yeah.
You know, because it is cold, and like I said, there's no load on it, so no one, you know, is physically using it. So this is what I want to do. You know, we'll talk to others about getting it all insulated and all. So, like I said, this loop goes out B2, 3, then 6 through 10 for all the stations for bottle filling. And like Tim said, we can go to a bottle filler and take a look and see what's going on. Spare pumps, all manual if one fails. All right, nothing's automatic. You physically have to do it on your own. Over here, of course, is the chlorine, and that's the same as the other one. Chlorine drum, and just gets replenished, and it's all automatic.
The acidity of the water, or whatever, the pH of the water going out, what is it typically?
The pH?
What is it typically when you, like typical?
7.
7, okay.
But the thing is, right here, we have nothing to adjust the pH, so we got to deal with what the city gives us. Okay?
Right.
So, but we're doing chlorine.
Just for setting up process.
Just to keep the water bacteria free. Okay, so like on city water, you never have, you know, any adjustment to take out chlorine because you want the chlorine there so you don't grow bacteria. So there's chlorine in this water, there's chlorine in the other water, just so we control bacteria.
There's chlorine in that water going out on the RO water?
Yes.
But you control the level.
We control the level. So, you know, a lot of places, if you go somewhere, drink the water, say, wow, there's a lot of chlorine in that. We control it so you can't taste it, but we ensure that there's no bacteria there.
Yeah, it meets the minimum amount.
Right. So, what's that? The carbon, yes. So we take care of removing it as it comes in, and that what we got to do is also protect our RO membranes because they can't see chlorine. So we remove it, clean it all up, then put it back in, inject it back in for the process. All right? Okay.
The spare pump.
Yeah,
If you have to run that, you just put an auto in the
auto.
valves.
No, you manually have to do all the valves.
The valves, but the pump should take over for the one that's down.
Off, the pump that's down, turn it off, change your valves,
Yeah.
turn it on.
Just go to
Auto.
auto. It'll take over and
Auto,
run.
yep,
Okay.
yep. Same with the other skid,
Yeah.
but they're on variable drives, so it will come up slow. Then you want to put it to where the other pump was. Because I think I have them, I think they're set for like 35. And I have hot and cold loop running about 45, 48. So I just had them at 35 just for my knowledge, just to check them and spin them and do all that.
Those pumps just run 24/7.
24/7. And the valves are wide open, so I'm not, and my drives are not wide open. I've got them so they're down low, so they're not working or forcing against any closed valves or anything like that. So less stress on the pump, it's less stress on the motor. And like I said, this comes in, goes out, and it's 24/7 recirculation. Okay. Why don't we move over here and wrap it up? We all set? Any questions?
Yeah, there's a leak right there.
No, condensation.
No, there is.
No, it's
On that
condensation.
on that union right there?
Feel that whole pipe.
Is it condensation?
Yeah. That's why I said, don't call me, tell Joe Rizzo it's condensation.
Everything's a leak. It is condensation, you're right.
Yeah,
Same thing for the heat exchanger.
yeah.
Can I insulate that line or what? What is that going to be?
Yeah, by others.
In the event of a leak somewhere in the system upstairs, can you valve off the floor, or do you have to shut the system down?
There is a valve at each cooler underneath inside, so you could isolate
That one cooler?
that one cooler. Most of them are right by the riser, so it just comes off. It's a real short piece of pipe right to the cooler. This loop goes right by.
Okay, so what about the RO system? Can that be, can you bypass a section, or?
No, everything's fed. Remember, we're on 4 and we're feeding 6, so everything goes right up and it comes right back down.
So if you had a problem, you'd have to
it's
shut
a
the
loop.
system down.
You need to shut the loop down.
But there is isolation.
There are stops underneath each sink.
Yep.
So you got a hot and cold stop. The shower valves have stops on them, and as well as the sink out in the room. So if you needed to change a fixture, you could do it locally. But if you need to work on the loop, you've got to come here.
Thank you.
And they come up 1.25 inches in the wall between the sink and the shower, and they go right back down. So they only come up to 42 inches of that.
Access panels.
Nothing in there that's serviceable. No.